Welcome back, family. How y'all doing? What's going on?
Okay, you beat me to the punch this time. I was about to say, welcome. You took the words right out of my mouth. Welcome to the Surviving Vegan podcast, family.
What's going on, y'all?
How y'all doing? How y'all doing?
Surviving Vegan _ Grizzly the King.
And I am Surviving Vegan, your holistic counselor.
How you doing, girl?
I'm doing good. How you doing?
I'm hanging in there,
It's been sipping on some water.
Surviving Vegan water.
It's real pristine, as you like to say, prestigious.
Y'all like my wrap today? My head wrap?
Yes, he has on a wrap for those who may not be watching the video. He has on a
nice wrap, man.
dashiki wrap.
You like it?
It's nice. I like when you have your hair wrapped up. Make you look youthful.
Well, I look youthful without it.
Yes, you do, but it makes you look real youthful.
My vegan lifestyle keeps me so young looking.
They be like, ma'am, can I see some ID for that?
Yeah, they definitely do that.
Well, welcome back to the podcast, family. We're on episode number 5 already. Cinco. And the topic is kind of a run-over topic from episode number 4 when we talked about, episode 3, manifestation. We'll be talking about making your first 10,000 in business. We talked about the spiritual aspect in that last episode. And this episode, as I said, is a runoff for the previous one where we talked about isolation, removing toxicity from your life spiritually. And one of the key points was boundaries. Creating boundaries with people. A lot of people might have left the last episode needing a little bit more information on what if I live with this toxic person? What if I'm in a relationship with this toxic person? What if this toxic person is my mom? Like, what do I do? So we're going to dedicate one episode to helping you to understand how to create and set up boundaries with people who you love and don't want to totally X out of your life, but it's important that they know what lines not to cross.
Healthy boundaries,
right? Don't be popping off at the mouth at people like, don't be that. No, we don't want to do it that way. We want to have positive communication. Always remember, communication should bring us closer together. You have to remember that, if you get into arguments, it will happen. You get into miscommunication, you get into disagreements. You may want to remember and remind yourself that I have to set my healthy boundary. And if I'm going to go into this conversation, remember, this is an effort to bring us closer, not to tear us apart.
Definitely.
Not to tear us apart.
With us in our relationship, we had to realize how to set boundaries with among ourselves. And for me, it was continuing to grow. I remember, I was in a state that I wasn't ready to let go of a lot of things from my past, and not letting those things go made me toxic.
No, tell them what it was. What you ain't want to let go?
Oh, so much.
Okay. Throw out a few things.
It was relationship issues, from cheating situations, from we had a situation where she was cheating. I had been cheating. It was toxic, and we decided that at one point we just couldn't be together. Then we decided we wanted to be together.
Then we decided we wanted to be together. Then we decided we wanted to be together.
But then we realized, but even then coming back together, we still held on and harbored those negative energies.
Right.
And that kept the environment toxic. So at some point, as we continued to learn and grow together, we got to a point where the toxicity level started to go down. And we had to make a pact with each other to constantly and effectively change and not give up on that. What you was gonna say?
And that's I was going to agree with you, and that's kind of like one of our number one rules, not just for us, but for everyone that is coming to somebody to criticize them. Okay, everything is not going to be peaches and cream. There's going to be disagreements. When you're coming to criticize someone, you have to avoid getting into an argument, because that can be sensitive. So when you bring something to someone, you have to remember that the person has to be ready to accept, like we said before, that it is time for them to grow or let something go, whatever you're criticizing them about. If you didn't realize that it's time for me to keep on growing, I can't stay in one spot, we wouldn't have been able to get closer together and grow together. And you have to know that about whoever you are trying to communicate with as well. If you're coming to them with something that's genuinely bothering you, and you know that it's something that can change, like don't criticize somebody on something that they cannot change. Like, I can't change, my eyesight. So you get mad at me every time I don't see my socks on the floor. Get mad at your husband or something like that. That's not funny. I'm serious. You have to take into consideration that, his eyesight, something might be wrong. It's something wrong with it.
I think she's trying to say something because her eyes are bad and she be leaving stuff everywhere.
But no, I'm not.
I be telling her, I be like, listen, don't leave it right there. And she be like,
no, that's more my just not wanting to do it. That's something I could change though. But I'm saying, like, if my vision is really messed up and then you see somebody and they can't do something for themselves, don't criticize them on that. Help them in those instances. Correct. But if it's something that somebody could change, as he was saying, like cheating or being abusive in the way they speak and tone, then you let them know. And if they're ready to accept it, like, you know what, you're right, that's wrong, I shouldn't do that, I have to be accountable, and let's move forward, and this is what I'm going to do. Then you set your healthy boundaries. This is what I'm going to do. That's somebody that you can build with. And but the people, go ahead.
No, and like, our boundary now is, if she gives me a boundary specifically, if I revert back to my negative manner or toxicity, that's going to open the door for our bond to be broken that we've created. Mm-hmm. And then that puts us in a predicament where potentially we have to separate, because she's not going to deal with that toxicity. And we've already agreed on that. So anytime, like, for instance, I still get upset sometimes. I might blow up about things because just the manner in what I was raised, and I still harbor certain energies from my past. So that might spill out in certain situations. And it's not okay. Don't give a pass for it. But I also know how to come back, apologize, say sorry for it, and also give an understanding that I'm still willing to grow, and I show that I'm still growing, in every aspect. Nobody's perfect. Nobody's going to be perfect. You have learning lessons in every situation that you're going to have. But because these healthy boundaries are set, I know my limits. I might even get to that little bit of point but I won't cross that limit. You know what I'm saying? And I bring myself back. Vice versa, she does the same. We have our boundaries, and that's how it is. And we've opened the door up to have healthy boundaries for our family as well.
Right. So you let someone know, if this is someone that you're trying to restore a relationship, you want to set healthy boundaries. As a woman, tell them a little bit about how you're supposed to speak. A man speaking to a woman, etc.
So, one thing I never was ever taught me this, how to communicate with a goddess. So what I've learned is that you have to communicate with a goddess, your goddess, whatever it may be. Your
mom, auntie, sister.
With your emotions. They speak from their emotions. I'm not saying they don't have a logic. They have logic, but most of the time they speak with emotion and feeling. Mm-hmm. Men speak more logically. We speak from the aspect of, that don't make sense, so I'm not going to do it, or this makes sense, I am going to do this. That's what we think. When you're speaking from your emotions, it ain't got nothing to do with what makes sense. It's what they feel is right, or
validation, things and such, right?
So you have to learn that trait when you're talking to any woman, because if you don't know that, you're going to always be at odds. And
it's not meant for us to be at odds. That's the thing. It's duality. We have to look at things. We were taught through institutionalizations and being institutionalized, let me put it like that. We were taught there's a loss and there's a win, and there's you and then there's me, and then I'm against you. But we have to look at it as duality.
That segregated thought pattern. We have a segregated thought pattern, and that's not the true culture. You have to realize that you have this hand here. Each one of these fingers play a role on this hand. Without this finger, the hand doesn't work properly. It's the same thing with me and her. We work as a duality. We work as a team. And if one of the team members isn't working properly, then the whole team is not working. And I believe that they've portrayed this individuality into our culture so much that we feel like, oh, I'm on my own. I'm my own man, or I'm my own woman.
Or you're not going to tell me what to do. And it's not even about telling what to do. It's about using the best of both worlds. Masculine energy, feminine energy, logic with emotions. These things are needed for a unit to be balanced. I'm not against you. I'm going to be emotional, and I have to listen to him for logic, especially when, business ideas, new ventures that we go on, something dealing with the children. The list is endless. Yeah. If you're with somebody and they're ready to accept their flaws, you express your hurt, how they may have hurt you. If they have something to say to you, you be accountable as well. And one thing I want to say, when you're criticizing someone, don't bring a whole list of 30 things they did over the past 10 years to hurt your feelings. You want to kind of focus on one thing, okay? Because a person's going to feel like, dang, you just couldn't wait to just let it out on me. No, you don't want them to feel that way. Create strategic moments away from crowds. When you guys have personal time, sit down, express yourself, be accountable if they have some comments on you as well. And then you set your boundaries, okay? What you did, it hurt me, but I understand that you're working on your communication, the way that you talk to me. So I will want you to work on that, and if we don't work on that, we're gonna have a conversation about it. Boom, there you go. You set a boundary, and then when somebody acknowledges your boundary, if you get into a miscommunication and you notice that your king or queen held their composure throughout the disagreement, you need to reward them. And if they didn't, then it's time to implement what you set up with a boundary.
I definitely want you all to know that this isn't just for your significant other. This is for anybody who you're in constant communication with, whether it's your mother, your father, grandparents, brother, sister, uncle, co-worker, whoever it may be that's close to that you deal with on a regular. These are situations and boundaries that have to be set, and you have to be able to effectively communicate with all of them. And as another scenario, for more transparency, I had a situation with my family to where we were growing, or I was outgrowing a lifestyle that they were still in, and I had to get to a point where I had to let it go, and it was toxic. It was a very toxic environment, and it was very hard to communicate in that environment. So what I had to do was, number one, segregate myself, and I know we just said that segregation isn't what we want,
but this is temporary, so you can gather yourself.
You sometimes you do have to separate and segregate yourself, so that, like she said, you can gather yourself, get back to who you are, get back to understanding of where you want to be, and then you can come back. So what I did was I took a few months, I stepped back, and I know everybody's not fortunate to maybe leave the house with their parents, or leave the house with their significant other, or whatever your situation may be, but
that might mean going on a walk.
That might just mean going on a walk. I was able to literally leave for about 2 to 3 months, gain my composure, gain my thoughts, allow certain things to flow through me, pass through me and whatnot. And then I was able to manifest certain things that was necessary for my growth. And through that process, I was able to invite my loved ones back into my life with open arms, but with boundaries and understanding of what lines can't be crossed and where we're going from this point. Now, that might not be easy for everybody. It might not be easy to sit
right.
down.
It took us 3 or 4 years to get to that point. Yeah, it took us 3 or 4 years to get to that point. So that wasn't we found this information out and boom. Now I did that. I found that information. I took it to my family and they just looked at me like I was speaking another language. Mm-hmm. Right. So you might be that person that go through that, and that's a part of the journey. But what if I can go back and I had to redo anything? I really wouldn't. But if I had to, I would change the fact of me wasting my time trying to get other people to think like me.
Yes.
Just be the change for myself first.
Correct.
Be the change for myself, because when I really started to stop trying to get everybody else to think like me and just focused on me, the manifestation I was trying to help everybody to see happened through me, and they saw anyway. So get yourself together. Get yourself together first. Feel comfortable. Gauge the temperament of your family or whoever it may be. I urge you, if it's your significant other, hopefully they'll be going on this, journey with you. But if not, do what you can, get yourself together and have those conversations when they're appropriate for yourself. And it's just a learning and growing journey.
Yeah, and like I was saying, that was one of the hardest things in my life to do. I've been to prison, I've been to jail, I've been in terrible situations, but to separate myself from the closest members of my family, to be a better person for myself and for my family and for them as well, that was very hard. So like the Queen said, it took us 4 to 5 years to get to a point where I was even able to think about doing that. And then it took me a few more months to really make that final decision to say, okay, I gotta do it now. And then it took me 3 months to go through the process. I didn't know how long it was gonna take. And I went through it, and I came out on the other side and was more healthier, was able to articulate things, like I say, set up healthy boundaries. One of the healthy boundaries was we're in a safe zone. Our home, which we operate our business out of our home as well, and our loved ones are team members. So they have to bring the same energy that we have in this house. So this is everybody's safe zone. It's not just me and the Queen's safe zone. It's their safe zone as well. So that means leave all issues, all negativity, all
disagreements,
arguments. Leave all of that outside of the door. When you come in here, this is a safe zone for yourself and for whoever else is in here. And that doesn't mean that you cannot express yourself. That just means we got to express ourselves correctly. We have times where we open up the floor. Every day we have an hour. 1 hour meeting of accountability. Understand, we talk about what we was able to do, what we didn't do. We talk about outside of business. We talk about personal life, what's going on, how we feeling. We open that floor, and that's what I'm saying. This is the safe zone. I mean, we got to do this. We got to understand this is the work that has to be done. We got to heal our community. We say what's wrong. My uncle crazy or my mama crazy or anything like that. But we have to understand we were never taught proper communication. What's teaching us communication today? Reality TV, the songs, our toxic family, the toxic movies. Everywhere we look, there's toxicity on a spiritual level, mental level, and physical level. From the food to what we watch, what we listen to, everything is toxic. So when do you ever commit time to learning effective communication? Like I was just telling you, if you don't practice, you don't know. Like I was just telling her the other day, we was listening to R&B music from the 90s, and I compared that to what we have today in 2020. The R&B music, quote unquote, or even the hip hop music there's only one R&B artist, Chris Brown. I was thinking that today. Chris Brown's the only R&B artist. But the level of toxicity in that music, that back then we had a balance of it was teaching us love. They was crying, they was doing this, they was doing all this, but they taught us what love was. Now they teach us love from a whole different view. And the love that's being taught is so toxic. It is toxic. And we have to remember they're teaching us how to communicate. They're teaching us now our love language. And the love language it's still going to always be love, but the way it's being taught is just exactly devastating. The way our communication with each other, arguing, how do we expect that to change in our communities if that's what we feed ourselves? So we got to be careful, from watching Jerry Springer, all these other shows. They was teaching us how to communicate. That's why they have these talk shows. They tell you what it's called, a talk show. It's teaching you how to talk. I'm still on that. They got Jerry Springer as a judge. Yeah, Jerry Springer has his own judge show. We saw that today. Oh, no, y'all. We haven't watched TV in so long, but today we saw it. It was like Jerry Springer is a judge. I promise you, I was like, that's not Jerry Springer. You got to know what they're doing. You got to know. You got to know the underlying. They know psychology. They know how that the mind is an image associated organ. They know these things, and they perpetrate. They're not forcing us to do it. Okay, but they put it in there for us, like little
candies in the middle of the road. Come look at this. Come watch this. The movies, everything. You can't get away from it. You can say it doesn't affect me all you want, but that
everything's affected.
Yes, your brain when you're looking at a movie doesn't know this is fake. Consciously it's fake, but subconsciously you don't know.
And that's the greatness in you. The Creator, the Almighty created you that way to
be a sponge, absorb
exactly and
so much.
And the powers that be that have manipulated certain things, they know that.
I don't even want to call them powers to be. They ain't no dang powers. Cowards. Cowards. They gotta control resources through manipulation.
Correct. But they are in power.
They are because
they are in power. They've used their manipulation skills to grow their power.
To buy
but that
everything.
Does not mean that we don't have power.
Exactly.
That's one thing about it. That don't mean that they're stronger.
They have superficial power.
I'm not saying that they're stronger than us. We're stronger. And that goes back to what we were saying about the unity and about that segregation and about us being individuals. If we look at ourselves as a community and a true community, they really won't be able to be powerful. They won't have no power over us. But that's what we're in. That's why we're moving. But again, let's get back to the boundaries.
We definitely got off the boundaries. We just want you to know that you want to communicate to love, not to create torn relationships. You communicate in a chance, an opportunity to build your bond. Okay, you want to handle all disagreements as quickly as you possibly can. Don't go to bed mad. Keep those same principles. You never know what tomorrow brings. No, tomorrow's not promised to anybody. Do your best to especially not go to bed mad. If you can't bring yourself to talk to somebody that hurt you, that you desire to have a relationship with, then that means you have to do some internal healing. So you need to watch episode number 4 and learn about healing with manifestation, and then come to this episode and learn about setting boundaries. Have positive body language. Don't be rolling your neck. Don't be rolling your eyes. Talk about you need to change this. No, that's negative. Negative doesn't mean bad either. It's a duality. But you desiring a positive outcome. You ain't desiring a fight. So you want to put out the positive body language with your tone, with your hands, the way you speak. And then you make sure the settings are correct. Isolated. They're not in front of their best friends. You're going to put them on the spot in front of their mama.
And that might it might not work with everybody.
It might not.
It's not going to work with everybody.
And that's the key. That's the key. You have to. It's only not going to work if they don't want to accept their end of the part.
And if they don't, then you know.
And you have to retract. You have to retract.
That's when it comes to where now you need to start separating from this person.
Because if they don't want to grow, they don't want to grow.
Now, like I was saying, we're gonna get in a little deeper. As in, let's just say they're in your household. Let's just say you living with your spouse. You see us. We work together. We were fortunate to come into the walk as a unit,
right?
But we speak to a lot of couples that don't. It's lopsided. They might have the husband might want to go this route, but the wife not, or the wife want to go this route, but the husband don't. And if that's the case, and you don't want to leave them, you gonna have to start to how can I say it? Just do it on your own.
Be an inspiration.
Be the inspiration. Allow them to see you change and grow. At that point, you're learning them. You're relearning them. And if they're going to show you, if they're willing, if they love you like they say they love you, they're going to be changing with you.
Especially if you're bringing them facts. Like, your loved one is suffering from cancer or something, or suffering from a illness, and you're just trying to tell them change their diet. Maybe they not do it today, maybe not do it tomorrow, but they should be able to see the change in you. And again, like we said earlier, if it's a male, you're going to come to them with logic. Like, listen, you have high blood pressure. This is what can happen. Show them a documentary, whatever you want to do. All right. And if it's a female, talk more about your feelings. I want you to be here to see your grandchildren. Have those open conversations with them. Do it privately. If they love you, especially if they live with you, they should have the respect to allow you the time to talk to them. So, come with them nice. Go ahead.
No, some people are stuck in their ways as well, and you might not never get to them.
And that's what you're going to have to be able to accept.
Yes, you're going to have to accept. That don't mean that you lose the love that you have for them. You can still love them, but you will have to love them from afar.
And that has nothing to do with you. They ain't not accepting it because you ain't do something. They're not accepting it because that's where they are. And you have to let them be accountable for that, even if they ain't accepting it. But let them be accountable for that. And then you accept the fact that this is the decision that they made for them, not for you.
Not allow anybody to put their hurt and emotional issues on you. Do not do that, because we will receive all of that negative energy from the
you
other
absorb
party.
it,
You
right.
absorb it. You don't want to absorb because they're not ready to face it. So all they're going to do is keep transferring and ping ponging it off.
And you got to be aware of that.
And if you want to be that punching bag that's going to absorb all that, that's not going to be healthy for you. So that's when we say you're going to have to find a way to
isolate,
separate.
It's only so much, and that has to be your boundary. It has to be your boundary that you say with yourself. I'm going to, work with this person. I'm not going to work with this person. It's up to you. It's up to you. We got to remember, we got to take control of our life. We're not losing anything. All things that we experience is because we have. But the choices that we make do have consequences. So if you want to make the decision to be with somebody that you don't see changing, and then you look up 30 years has gone by, now you want to decide, you have to be accountable for that. Yeah. Communicate with each other. It's to bring you closer. Make sure you have them in an isolated area where you can talk privately. Make sure you're using positive body language. Make sure with your consequence, you're not throwing a whole list at them, but it's one at a time. Make sure you're looking at them positively, smiling. Appreciate them as well. Set your boundaries. Reward them when they honor your boundary, and discuss consequences when they don't. And it's that simple. It's simple. It takes time to master it now. It takes time. But this is a part of your journey. Like he said, you're relearning. I'm 29. Oh, no, I'm 30 now. I'm 30 years old. And when we started this journey, we was 27, 26, 24. We was 24. Yeah, we were 24. We were 24, 25. Yeah, we was like 24.
I was turning 26.
We were 20. Well, we had a little, flashback. But when we started this journey, at that moment, we had 24 years of relearning, unlearning to do. We're still on that journey, but we're committed to it. So peace, love, and light, family. It's been episode number 5 of the Surviving Vegan. I'm about to say 5 Surviving Vegan Detox Challenge, but it's episode number 5 of the I Am Surviving Vegan podcast. Make sure you follow us on Instagram. Yes. I Am Surviving Vegan and Surviving Vegan Grizzy _Grizzy the King. Check us out on YouTube, Surviving Vegan TV, and of course we're streaming on all platforms, y'all. Love y'all.
We love you.